Have you ever wondered what really happens to a man's mind when he lives alone for a long time? When the noise fades, the expectations disappear, and the world stops telling him who he should be for someone else? Before we go any further, if you're looking to understand yourself better, improve your relationships, and transform the way you experience love and attraction, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and most importantly, watch it until the very end, because what you're about to hear has the power to completely change your love life. Now let me tell you a story. There was a man who once lived his life surrounded by people, friends, colleagues, relationships that came and went, conversations that never really went deep. Like most men, he believed his value was measured by how much attention he received, how desired he was, how needed he felt by women. He chased connection because silence made him uncomfortable. He chased validation because being alone felt like failure. Then life did what it often does. Circumstances changed. Relationships ended. Friends got busy. And one day he found himself alone, not for a weekend, not for a few weeks, but for months, then years. At first, the loneliness was loud. The nights felt longer. The walls echoed with thoughts he had been avoiding for years. He questioned himself. He questioned women. He questioned love. He wondered if something was wrong with him. But something strange happened as time passed. The loneliness softened. Silence stopped being an enemy and became a teacher, and slowly, without realizing it, the way he saw women began to change. Stoic wisdom tells us that when external distractions fall away, we are forced to confront reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Living alone strips a man of illusions. It removes the constant emotional negotiation, the subtle performances, the unspoken pressure to impress, to please, to be chosen. For the first time, this man began to see women not through desire, fear, or fantasy, but through clarity. He realized that much of what he once called love was actually attachment. Much of what he once called passion was actually anxiety. And much of what he once called attraction was rooted in his need for validation. When a man lives alone long enough, he stops seeing women as answers to his emptiness. He stops expecting them to heal his wounds, complete his identity, or give meaning to his life. And this is where real power begins. The Stoics believe that suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. This man began to see that his past suffering in relationships wasn't caused by women, but by the expectations he placed on them, expectations they never agreed to carry. Living alone taught him self-sufficiency. He learned how to sit with his emotions without immediately trying to escape them through attention or intimacy. He learned discipline, routine, and inner order. And with that inner order came emotional independence. Now, when he looked at women, he didn't see saviors or threats. He saw human beings, complex, emotional, flawed, searching just like him. This shift is subtle but profound. A man who has lived alone long enough no longer chases women out of fear of being alone. He chooses them calmly and deliberately. He no longer rushes connection. He allows it to grow naturally or not at all. He understands something most men never do. Attraction is not created by need. It is created by presence. Stoic wisdom teaches that the strongest position a man can hold is inner peace. When a man is comfortable alone, he is no longer controlled by desire. Desire becomes something he observes, not something that commands him. And women sense this. They sense when a man does not need them but appreciates them, when he is not trying to extract validation, but is simply grounded in who he is. This kind of man listens more than he speaks. He reacts less. He does not argue to win approval. He does not perform masculinity. He embodies it quietly. Living alone teaches a man the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is dependence. Solitude is choice. Once he understands this, his standards rise. Not in arrogance, but in clarity. He no longer tolerates chaos disguised as passion. He no longer confuses drama with depth. He no longer sacrifices his peace to feel desired. Stoicism reminds us that not everything that feels good is good for us, and not everything that feels painful is harmful. Living alone was painful at first, but it sharpened his perception. He began to notice patterns he once ignored. How some women were drawn to attention, not connection. How some relationships were fueled by insecurity rather than mutual respect. And he noticed something else too. He noticed the women who were calm, self-aware, emotionally responsible. The women who did not demand his energy but complemented it. Before, he would have overlooked them because they did not trigger emotional chaos. Now he recognized their value. A man who lives alone long enough stops confusing intensity with intimacy. He also stops idealizing women. Stoicism warns against placing anything outside ourselves on a pedestal. When we idealize, we give away power. This man no longer projected fantasies onto women. He accepted them as they were, not as he hoped they would be. This didn't make him colder. It made him wiser. He became slower to commit, but deeper when he did. He no longer feared losing women, because he had already learned how to live without them. And paradoxically, this made him more attractive than ever before, because fear is unattractive, need is unattractive, but calm certainty is magnetic. When a man lives alone long enough, he learns to enjoy his own company. He builds a life that feels full even in silence. And when a woman enters that life, she is not the center of it. She is a welcome addition. This is the Stoic path. He noticed the women who were calm, self-aware, emotionally responsible. The women who did not demand his energy but complemented it. Before, he would have overlooked them because they did not trigger emotional chaos. Now he recognized their value. A man who lives alone long enough stops confusing intensity with intimacy. He also stops idealizing women. Stoicism warns against placing anything outside ourselves on a pedestal. When we idealize, we give away power. This man no longer projected fantasies onto women. He accepted them as they were, not as he hoped they would be. This didn't make him colder. It made him wiser. He became slower to commit, but deeper when he did. He no longer feared losing women, because he had already learned how to live without them. And paradoxically, this made him more attractive than ever before, because fear is unattractive, need is unattractive, but calm certainty is magnetic. When a man lives alone long enough, he learns to enjoy his own company. He builds a life that feels full even in silence. And when a woman enters that life, she is not the center of it. She is a welcome addition. This is the Stoic path. To build a fortress within that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. To love without attachment. To desire without dependence. To choose without desperation. And here is the truth most people won't tell you. A man who has mastered solitude is no longer easily manipulated by attention or affection. He cannot be controlled by the fear of abandonment. He does not stay where he is disrespected, just to avoid being alone. He understands that peace is the highest currency. So when he looks at women now, he looks with calm eyes. He appreciates beauty without obsession. He enjoys connection without clinging. He walks away without bitterness. Not because he doesn't care, but because he cares enough about himself to not betray his own values. Stoic wisdom teaches that we must focus only on what we can control. A man who has lived alone long enough understands he cannot control how a woman feels, what she chooses, or how long she stays. And because of that, he stops trying. He becomes authentic, and authenticity is rare. This is how a man sees women after long solitude, not as prizes to win, not as threats to his freedom, but as individuals who may or may not align with his path. And that calm discernment is the mark of true masculine strength. If this message resonated with you, if you felt like parts of this story reflected your own journey, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember to watch our videos until the end, because the insights you gain here are designed to change your love life from the... Have you ever wondered what truly changes inside a man when he lives alone for a long time? When there is no one watching, no one expecting, no one demanding anything from him? Before we begin, if you want clarity in your relationships, strength in your mindset, and a deeper understanding of love and attraction, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and watch it till the very end, because what you're about to hear can quietly transform your love life. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who once believed that being desired defined his worth. Like many men, he measured his value through attention, relationships, and how women responded to him. Silence made him uneasy. Being alone felt like a problem that needed fixing, so he filled his life with noise, conversations, and emotional attachments. Then life slowed him down. Relationships ended. People drifted away, and suddenly he was alone, not for a short while, but long enough that escape was no longer possible. At first, the loneliness was heavy. Nights felt endless. Thoughts he had buried came back stronger. He questioned himself, questioned women, and questioned love itself. But over time, something unexpected happened. The loneliness stopped hurting so much. The silence became familiar, and slowly the man began to see clearly. Stoic wisdom teaches that when distractions disappear, truth appears. Living alone stripped this man of illusions. Without constant emotional exchange, he was forced to sit with himself. He learned the difference between what he wanted and what he needed, and this is where his view of women changed. He realized that much of what he once called love was actually dependence. He had been seeking comfort, validation, and identity through relationships. Women were not partners in his mind, but emotional anchors. Once he saw this, something shifted. Living alone taught him self-control. He learned how to regulate his emotions without needing reassurance. He learned discipline in small things, waking up on time, maintaining order, sitting with discomfort. Stoicism calls this mastery of the self, the highest form of power. Now, when he thought about women, he no longer saw them as solutions to his emptiness. He stopped expecting them to heal wounds he had never addressed himself. He began to understand that peace must be built internally, not borrowed from another person. A man who lives alone long enough stops chasing, not because he loses desire, but because desire no longer controls him. He becomes selective, calm, and grounded. He does not rush connection. He allows it to unfold naturally or not at all. Stoic philosophy teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. This man understood that attachment had once blinded him. He had ignored red flags just to feel chosen. He had tolerated chaos because it felt better than silence. Alone, he learned that silence is not the enemy. Dependence is.